I was a single mom living in the government housing projects, and I needed a job. I was too proud to take food stamps, so I was kind of hungry. And I remember standing in this bathroom mirror and thinking the only person that can get me out of this situation is looking right back at me. And what was I going to do about it? And I just prayed, if I just can work somewhere where they give me an opportunity to learn and grow, I'm going to do everything I can to be successful. And Target gave me that opportunity. Now, did I think I was going to end up being the CEO of the largest specialty beauty retailer at that point in time? No. But I did believe in myself that if I was just given an opportunity, I felt like I could do much more. I could get myself out of that situation, and I did.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to How She Does It, where we meet amazing women who are thriving in their careers, and we ask them how they do it. I'm Karen Feinerman. I'm a longtime Wall Street investor, a mom of four, and a panelist on CNBC's Fast Money. As a tomboy growing up, it took me a while to discover the joy of makeup. And if you find yourself wanting a new lipstick, there's an excellent chance you're getting it at ULTA Beauty. It's the largest beauty retailer in the U.S. with 1,500 stores, and they've had a very strong 2025 thanks to Kecia Steelman, who is marking her first year as CEO. And it's worth noting that Kecia did not take the typical route to the C-suite. Instead, at 20 years old, she started her career working for $8 an hour as a team leader in the men's department at Target. She moved on to bigger roles at other retailers and landed at Ulta in 2014 as their chief store operations officer. She occupied a variety of executive roles before taking over as CEO in early 2025. Kecia joined me in the studio during her recent trip to New York City, and we talked about her strategy for fostering strong relationships with celebrity brands, including Beyoncé, Kylie Jenner, and more. How her experience in customer service directly influences her approach to building the business, and why being a grandma may be the best part of her week. This was a fun one. Hope you enjoy. Kecia Steelman, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
So I got a lot to ask. I want to jump right in.
Okay.
So you were part of the C-suite at Ulta for a number of years, but now you're the CEO for a little over a year now. How does that feel?
Well, it feels pretty darn good, is what I would say. I feel like I've been preparing really for the CEO job my entire career in retail. Been in retail for over 30 years, but the last 3 years before I took over the role when I was the COO and president, I really felt like it was giving me the opportunity to kind of fine tune how I wanted to really step into the job, and I hit the ground running.
You really did. All right, so it's been a year. Mm-hmm. How is Ulta positioned today?
Well, I feel like we're very well positioned. In the last year, we've hit 1,500 stores. We went from being a U.S.-based only company to more of an international company. We acquired Space NK, which is in the U.K. We launched a joint venture in Mexico with Grupo Axo. We have a licensed franchise agreement with Alshaya in the Middle East. And I've made it very clear that I want to continue to grow our international footprint. We've also said at the same time, I feel like there's opportunity for us to grow in the United States. We opened up our first marketplace. We launched with over 100 brands, and those brands are continuing to grow. It just continues to help us elevate our e-commerce business. We've continued to invest in our e-commerce platforms with new technology that makes it easier to shop for our guests. So our e-commerce business, in light of all this conversation around e-com struggling, I announced in Q3 that we have double-digit comps in our e-com. Yet at the same time, our stores are growing and we are continuing to take share in beauty in all categories. So I would say that we've had a lot going on, and I'm looking forward to sharing even more in 2026 of what we're going to be doing for Ulta Beauty.
Okay, so you can't say now you can rest, I'm sure.
No, there's
right.
No rest.
Onward, yes. What's been your strategy?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you step into a role as the CEO with a strategy is to have a strategy first and foremost, and one that really everyone understands. Everyone from the back room of a store to the boardroom to the investment community understands exactly what it is that we're trying to achieve and the role that they play in that strategy in and of itself. I'm also a big believer in sometimes less is more, although it seems like we've been doing a lot of things in a short period of time. But to be really laser focused on what are really the business objectives that are going to be the right investments for not only short-term but long-term for the organization, and also have great shareholder return. I made a lot of changes at the leadership team. To have a team that's aligned with an enterprise-first mindset that are all collectively working together. While we've grown into a larger company, we still really perform like a much smaller company because we're really agile in the ways of working. And that communication, that partnership, that teamwork is really real. Culture to me is everything. And when you have a clear strategy, everyone understands their role, they're playing well together, and we're having fun while we're doing it, that's the best place you can ever be, I believe, as a leader.
Mm-hmm. So before you got to the highest echelons of where you are now, let's go back to the very beginning. Your first job in retail was at Target.
Yes.
Okay, how did that happen? How did you get the job?
Well, I needed a job, number one. I took it as a job. I was making $8 an hour. I was a ready-to-wear and men's team leader, is what they called it. And I just loved what I did. And I think they saw something in me and they promoted me to a salaried position. Now, when I do the math now, I probably was making less because I was working a lot of overtime in that hourly position. That was my first time of really taking a leadership role. And I loved it. I did. Retail got into my blood. And I had a great, successful 12-year career at Target. I'm very thankful that my first career in retail was there. Mm-hmm. Those were the early days where they really invested a lot in soft leadership and management skills. I left there and went to Home Depot for about 4 years, and then Family Dollar for 4 years, and then I've been at ULTA Beauty now for just under 12. So I've been in all realms of retail, but it does really get in your blood, mm-hmm. and I love what I do.
So it's a lot of iconic big retail names. But when you started there, tell us where you were in your life. And did you think, I am beginning a retail career here?
No. I mean, I would call myself poor, hungry, and determined. Mm-hmm. I was a single mom living in the government housing projects. And I needed a job.
And how old were you then?
I just turned 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pivotal moment for me. I'll never forget. I was in this housing project. I was too proud to take food stamps. So I was kind of hungry. Mm-hmm. But I did have assistance with the housing. And I remember standing in this bathroom mirror and thinking the only person that can get me out of this situation is looking right back at me. And what was I going to do about it? And I just prayed, if I just can work somewhere where they give me an opportunity to learn and grow, I'm going to do everything I can to be successful. And Target gave me that opportunity. Now, did I think I was going to end up being the CEO of the largest specialty beauty retailer at that point in time? No. But I did believe in myself that if I was just given an opportunity, I felt like I could do much more and I could get myself out of that situation, and I did.
So when did you start to feel like, okay, I'm kind of on my way?
Yeah. It started maybe in that first management position that I had, as I mentioned earlier, with Target, where I learned that it wasn't just about me. It was about surrounding yourself with the right people that were even better than I was, and that I could really learn from them. I learned just as much for the people who worked for me as the people that I worked for. I love having a really diverse team that has a different thought process than I do, and I think that's how I really learned and grown and have gotten even stronger and better as a leader myself. So I think I was pretty fortunate that I figured that out early in my career. I give that coaching all the time. Like, if you hire a C player, you're only going to be a C team. Go hire people that are better than you are and learn and grow from them. Don't be intimidated by that. Bring really good people on your team. And then my career kept moving forward, and I brought them along with me. I loved supporting and growing other talent along with me because somebody gave me an opportunity too at one point in time.
So deep down, though, did you know that you were that better player also?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm a very humble leader even today. And I often say, even as a CEO, there's no finish line for learning and growing. It's not like you finally achieve something and you're like, I'm here and I've arrived. I feel like in many ways, I have even more to learn as I've stepped into this role. And that thirst and hunger for knowledge has only grown. So I still feel like that same person that I was maybe back then, and that it's probably what continues to drive me, is it's like, I don't feel like I've arrived. I feel like I still have so much to learn.
That makes sense for someone as motivated as you to be that type. But when you were sort of on your way up, who was your sort of person that you looked up to or really believed in you? Or
Yeah. I hear a lot of people name a specific leader. I have to say it was my mom. My mom got divorced when I was a teenager, and my dad was the main breadwinner, and my mom had to reinvent herself at that point in time. And, I had to actually go to work full time when I was in high school to help pay the bills with my mom. Mm-hmm. And so I learned that work ethic and that value of family, not in the easiest of ways. And my mom ended up owning her own business. My sister ended up working for her. And to me, to just see how she reinvented herself and she continued to push herself. And she just retired just a few years ago because she loved what she did for so many years. She did interior painting and woodworking, really tough job. But she had a wait list. She never advertised. She had a wait list for people that wanted to come on and work with her because she was so good at what she did. And she was just so personable at the same time that I really learned that you can really reinvent yourself. And I respect her so much for that.
She must be tremendously proud.
Oh, yeah, she is. She is. Yeah. She's one of my biggest cheerleaders. And she watches the stock, and every once in a while I'll get a nice message from her saying, "You're doing great. You're doing great." So, she's very proud of me.
Anytime she can work the phrase ULTA Beauty into a conversation, she wants to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you ever, with the first big amount of money you made, buy a gift for your mom?
I'm a big one on, I don't buy things, I buy experiences. In fact, my dad just passed away a few months ago, and I took my mom and my sister on a trip. I'm like, there's no reason, I've got your airfare, we're going, it's all the way paid. I just believe experiences are things that no one can ever take away from you. So I do gift my family experiences versus things. Mm-hmm.
So is there a leader, male or female, that you look up to as a way to carry themselves? And
there's a couple. One is Carol Tomei. So when I was at Home Depot, Carol was the CFO, and I had a lot of respect for her. It was not a very easy industry, especially as a female leader. And, she subsequently didn't get the CEO job, but then she went off to be the CEO of UPS. And I've since had the opportunity to talk to her a couple times, and I just think she's done a fantastic job in a really tough industry, and I have a lot of respect for her. There's life lessons, even from a financial perspective, when I was at Home Depot, where I had to go ask her for some money, and she was a tough cookie. You didn't get the money so easily. And I use those same disciplines now, even in business today, of the ROI and what's that investment and how's that going to look. And then another one that I would say is Mary Barra. I just think that she has been a trailblazer for women, and for her to have come through the ranks with a long tenured career in the automotive industry, I think she's a trailblazer too. So those are two that I really kind of hold a high regard for. Yeah,
in male-dominated industries. And I love that Mary Barra's father worked at GM, and this was now his daughter.
It's so cool.
That is very, very cool. So going back to working at retail, what's an example of the best day and the worst day?
Oh, the best day is when I've seen someone where just kind of all of a sudden you can see that it clicks for them. So somebody on my team, I've been coaching, and to see them rise to a level of leadership, and for me to be able to sit back and watch how they're really leading their people, it's the best day for me. I've had a couple of those experiences even recently with my new team. I feel like we've cracked the code between merchandising, marketing, and retail, where collectively this team of strong female leaders are coming together, and I watch them in interaction with brands, and to just see how they're collaborating and they're riffing off each other and they're challenging each other, and the brands are just like, whoa, if we go into your ecosystem, this is going to be really good for us. That's awesome for me as a leader, to just sit back and just be able to watch that happen. Mm-hmm. The worst days are, I've always said, the day that when I let somebody go, that it doesn't bother me, even if they kind of have deserved it and earned it, that's the day that I need to quit, because it means that I have lost my heart. I feel like I'm a true heart leader, and we have to make those tough decisions, and I always put the team first. So the toughest days for me are when I've had to let somebody on my team go.
Mm-hmm. So when you're looking to hire someone, if you could pick one trait only What is it that you're looking for?
Grit.
Grit.
I appreciate and value people who have grit. I often talk about three things. I think that you have to have three to be really successful: IQ, EQ, and AQ. So IQ, you got to have a certain level of intelligence to do the job. EQ, you have to have emotional intelligence on how you interact with people. And then AQ, those are the ones that can overcome adversity. So it's the adversity quotient. I see so many successful people that hit a plateau because when they hit a bump in a road, they can't figure out how to go over it or through it or around it. And those that really excel know how to do that, and not only know how to do it, but then pay it forward to others and are humble enough that they share their experiences. So IQ, EQ, and AQ are what I'm really looking for, and that grit, that drive.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have a point in your career where you question your own ability to have those three things? Or?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I've questioned those three things. There's a lot of talk that you hear about like imposter syndrome, and I'm human. And at the end of the day, there's every once in a while it's like, whoa, can I do this? Yeah, can I do this? And I'd say there's two things. Number one, I do a lot of coaching with my female leaders. Like when you hear that voice creeping in your head, that is an energy sucker. So you've got to stop that negative self-talk. So I try to remind myself of that. But I'm also really blessed that I have a fantastic husband who he reads me pretty well. He will say to me, "You're the best at what you do." Never forget that you're the best at what you do. And it sounds like such an easy thing to say, but just a reminder of that to kind of get your head set on the right direction means everything to me.
So I know somewhere along the line you were passed over for something or other. What was it, and how did you get past it?
I think one of the biggest lessons I had is you can have a choice when you get passed over. You can either be bitter or you can be better. You can be bitter, and that's negative. That's not going to help you get to where you need to be. Or you can take that opportunity to have a reset for yourself and be like, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity to get even better. So next time that opportunity comes along, I can be really well prepared. And it's happened a few times in my career. And I'm a big believer in a glass half full versus half empty. It's like, this happened. There's a reason why this happened. What can I learn from it? And how can I be even stronger in the future? And I just think that that's the right mentality to have. And it's helped me get to where I am today. So clearly it's worked.
It's working. It's working. At ULTA, you talk a lot about the customer and the sales associate. And that's all equally important. Why?
Well, I think it's the center of everything. I mean, especially in retail, I often say when I go into a store, one of the most important people in that store is the cashier, because that's the last experience. You can have a great shopping experience, but if you have a bad checkout experience and that person isn't friendly, it totally tarnishes the entire experience. Every single person in a store and behind the scenes to make our products come to life in a store is what separates exceptional retailer from somebody that's operating so well. I do feel blessed that I grew up through the organization, so I get that and I understand that, and I think it gives me a really unique perspective. So if that associate feels valued, appreciated, and understands the role they play and how they plug back in, I remember being on the front lines and being like, I work really hard every day, but I don't understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So I work really hard to make sure that that message is getting all the way to the front lines in ULTA Beauty here now today, because they are the representation of their brand. They're more important to that guest interaction than I am as the CEO. So that's why I think it's really important to have them at the center of all the decisions that we're making. We do the right things for the associate. They're going to help do the right things for the guest. And then, of course, putting the guest front and center. We not only sell products, but we sell how people feel. And this is such a great category between beauty and wellness. We're not just a place that sells things. We're the place that people go to feel their best versions of themselves. And then you put our services components in it too. Like, people walk out with a little bit of a pep in their step. And the world is so heavy right now that if we can bring a little bit of joy and happiness to our guests that are coming in our stores, I feel like we're doing the jobs that we need to be doing.
So do you ever go to wherever city you might be in, go into an ULTA Beauty store, just you?
Yep.
Okay, and how often do they know who you are, and how often do they not?
Yeah, I don't do an undercover boss very well because even when I try to put the baseball cap on and go incognito, I usually get spotted pretty quickly. And I miss sometimes the experience of going in and walking up and down the aisles. But you know what's the best part to me is when I started at ULTA Beauty almost 12 years ago, and I would go into stores, people would get really nervous and they would get kind of scared. And I have worked really hard like, hey, listen, I'm here to hear from you what's working and what's not working and asking questions. And I want you to be really honest with me. If I'm walking a store and telling everybody what they need to be doing, something is definitely broken. I'm there to hear from them what they need from me. I feel like I'm a very servant leader, and I think they get excited. Now it's so great when I'm in a store and I pop in unannounced. They're excited to share with me what's going on and what are their challenges and what can I help them with. That's always like, what can I do for you? That's always a question I ask in every store that I'm in. And it could be their air conditioning unit's not working and I make an immediate phone call and we're on it right away because that is my responsibility as a CEO, is to do the right things by my associates.
So you'd rather hear that, sounds like. That's way better than like, listen, this isn't working. We've got too many of these and
I want to hear all of that. I want to
Yeah.
hear all of it. I want to hear what's not working because if I can help get things back on the right track, that's even better. And, I do try to stop into a few stores in a market because you can quickly see trends. So is it a one-off situation or is it a trend? And, we've got 1,500 stores. And every once in a while, you can pop into a store and it might not look as sharp as I would like. You need to seek to understand versus jumping to conclusions because you don't know what's happened. Did they have the flu pandemic that broke out in their store? Did somebody call in sick? Did they have something that was a crisis situation? So I ask lots of questions versus jumping to conclusions. I would always rather see a store that maybe didn't look as sharp because we can fix that quickly versus a store that didn't feel good. Culture is everything. When the store feels good, the associates like working in the stores, that's great. We can fix everything else.
So what are like some of the best perks that you have in this role?
Best perks. Products. I love products. And, the brands are so generous with products. And I test everything. Now, my husband would say, why are you still spending so much money at ULTA Beauty? Because I do have a lot of products. I love this category and I love learning. And that's one of the big perks. And the people that I get to meet, I walk into a store and I kind of can tell when somebody has that, what I call the it factor, where they've taken it as a job, but I'm like, I see so much more. I see opportunity in you, and I try to give as much coaching and positive, reinforcement. In the last couple of years, we've created 6,000 management positions for females in our company. So to turn somebody that's like how I was when I started, where I took it as a job and then it became a career, I see opportunities like that out there for all these associates that are in our stores. So I love that. And then I love meeting our brand founders. So there's so many entrepreneurs in this business that, have started because they found white space and they put their heart, their sweat, their tears into their products, and to be able to help them bring their products to life and help them be successful, that is just super rewarding in the role that I'm in today.
So I want to get to that, some of the huge names that you have. But one last question. Do you ever go into a Sephora store or a CVS or whatever it might be?
Absolutely.
And do they know who you are? And do you try to put the baseball cap on and you go and look around? And see what's
I don't like to, show who I am as much as I can. But you got to go into your competitors and you need to see what they're doing. And you got to learn just as much of what they're doing right. I'm always walking into stores that are what could be viewed as our competition, whether it's department stores, drug stores, Sephora, you name it. I think it's important as a retailer to understand what's out there in the environment and how can I continue to get better as a retailer myself. You can learn just as much from them.
So another perk of your job is working with some very, very big celebrities.
Yes.
Kylie Jenner, Paris Hilton, Khloe Kardashian, Tina Knowles. How do you approach those relationships?
Well, what I will say is that all of the celebrity brands that we have, the brand founders have really great products. They're very engaged in their brands. So it's not like they've just put their name on the products. They're really engaged really from beginning to end. And that's really important to us at ULTA Beauty, is that the products themselves are really great products. They've all been really a joy to work with. We just had our more recent advertising campaign for the holidays, and to see them all kind of collectively come together and having fun together was really, really a great experience. But I couldn't be more pleased with the celebrities that we have as partners with the ULTA Beauty brand.
Another one of whom is Beyoncé.
Yes.
And Sacred, the brand for the Cowboy Carter tour.
Yes.
Would you have some highlights from the tour?
Yeah, well, I want to start by saying Sacred was our largest hair launch in the history of our company. So the product itself is fantastic product, and it's continued to maintain coming out of the gates really strong. It was the first time that we've ever done something that's really non-traditional from a marketing campaign, and that was to sponsor her tour, but not to put just our name in the arenas, but to actually create activations outside of the arenas and to give the people that were going to go to her shows a true ULTA Beauty and Sacred experience together. And then she worked on creating looks. Each city had a different look, and we partnered with all of the brands that we sell. Makeup, of course, the hair was Sacred hair care products, but all brands that we carried in the store. And you could actually click on the link and you could order the products to get the same look that Beyoncé had for each of the cities that she was hosting. So it was a really unique 360 campaign that was very authentic and real and resonated with the guests. But we're really focused on being in these cultural moments where, music and beauty really come together, and we want to be part of the conversation. But the Cowboy Carter tour was just a lot of fun to experience that.
Did you go to a few shows?
I went to the show in Atlanta, and it was so much fun. I actually got to watch the show with Miss Tina, which was a special treat. I took 2 of my daughters with me and a friend, and it was a total experience. But I'm really proud of our partnership that we have with Beyoncé and Miss Tina and the Sacred brand. They're just such a fantastic group of people.
Now, that is an experience.
That is an experience.
You're the coolest mom ever now, for taking, your daughter.
Well, you need to tell my kids that. I don't know that they think that I'm as cool as I think they think I should be.
So let me ask you something. Your 2 children are grown up. What did your children think you did when they were young?
Worked all the time.
As what?
They knew that I worked in retail when they were growing up. They thought I went to the store and just sold things. I don't think they really understood that I really was leading people and motivating, the business going forward. But they just knew that mom worked a lot. When I came home, I might have been a little bit more tired, and I worked a lot on the holidays, and when my kids were growing up, it was in the earlier phases of my career. And, I'd work a lot on nights and weekends and holidays, and they missed their mom. So I think there might have been a little negative connotation of what work was like with mom when they were younger.
I think that Cowboy Carter thing probably made up for any deficits that you might have had.
And I think actually working at ULTA Beauty now, because they love to be able to try new products, and I definitely have a lot of products that they can try. So my cool factor is definitely increased.
So how do you do it now? How do you run your life? You got, a blended family of kids, grown kids for the most part. You got grandkids, one on the way.
Yeah.
How do you run your life?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like I'm very present. So when I'm at work, I'm very focused and present at work. And it's nice because I don't have little ones at home. So I can be all in at work. But just even this last weekend, the youngest is 21. The whole family came in to celebrate in Charleston, South Carolina, her birthday. And I was all in, and I was very present with those few days that we were all collectively together. It's not about the time, it's the quality of time that I'm spending with them. And I would say the same is true for my husband. My husband's very supportive of me and my career. He gets it. And he's had to make a lot of sacrifices, but there's a lot of benefits that come with this job too. And I just would say that I focus on being very present.
So let me switch gears. I am a quasi long-term shareholder. Felt like I'd missed the ULTA thing, and then the pandemic happened and you could buy any retail stock. So I've been a shareholder since then. And one of the things that I've wondered is about how you relate to Wall Street. You came out with very good numbers, and on the call you started to sort of temper expectations. And the stock ends up trading down a lot. And I'm on the phone with one of my friends who's a big holder, and he and I are giddy over this. We cannot believe that the market is selling off because of your tempered remarks. And what I always like to invest in is an under-promiser, over-deliverer, and you are that. But how do you think about engaging with Wall Street?
Yeah. Well, I feel like as a CEO, I have a lot of people that I need to make sure that I'm taking care of. The shareholders, our investors, my store associates, my teams, my board. I have a lot of people that are looking at me as the CEO to make sure that I'm continuing to deliver. What I think is important is that I want to put the expectation out there to the street of one that I know that is going to be one that I can achieve. It's not a good practice to get into a habit of missing a quarter after a quarter after a quarter. Some people might say that I'm conservative in my numbers. I want to be known as a CEO that makes their numbers and that hits their numbers. And I also hold us accountable as a longtime retailer. Like, we need to be financially disciplined to our plans. So sometimes when you're setting those numbers up to the street, you're also kind of sending a message to the organization internally that there's an expectation that we need to be, meeting or exceeding these numbers internally. So, I don't overly work on just managing the street. What I would say with the not worried about the stock price always, but with what I want to do and what I want to be known with as a CEO is that I'm open, I'm transparent as much as I can be, and I'm trustworthy. And that what I say, I do, and I commit on my deliverables. And I think when you can be very consistent as a leader, I think that will serve me well in the long term.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kecia, lightning round.
Okay.
I've got some fun questions for you. Would you rather, some other questions? Just first thing that pops into your head. Okay, here we go. Would you rather be lounging by a lake in North Carolina or lounging by a lake in Italy?
Italy.
Okay. What's better, taking your adult kids shopping at ULTA or taking your grandson for a haircut at ULTA?
Ooh, my grandson for a haircut. That's a tradition that we do. I'm the only one that will take him for his haircuts.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What's the best hack for moving? Because we know you moved 7 times.
Ooh,
in 30 years.
Yeah, what I've learned is if you haven't taken the moving tags off, don't move it to the next move. Because if you haven't needed it during the last move, you don't need it on the next one.
Okay, that's very good. What is your best hack for flying?
Take eye patches. I like to put the Skin Iceland eye patches on my eyes as I'm in the air.
So it's like a hydrating patch?
Yes.
Okay. Also a good one. Do you have a hidden talent?
I'm a speed reader.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that is good.
It is very helpful. I can read books very quickly.
How did you become a speed reader?
I don't know. I think it just naturally happened.
What's always in your makeup bag?
Oh, well, everything's always in my makeup bag.
Let me change that. How big is your makeup bag?
It's not as big as you'd think. I got my travel makeup bag and then my main makeup bag. But, I'd say I have all of the basics covered in my makeup bag because I am a true beauty junkie. I have full face makeup almost all the time.
Okay. So what's your morning routine?
Yeah, well, my morning routine is I actually start working in bed. I start reading WWD, start reading, New York Times, Wall Street Journal in bed. And then I quickly get ready to go and I start work right away. I'm not an early morning workout person. I'm more of a late evening workout person. So I like to get my day going with work right away.
Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Tea. And caffeine free. No caffeine.
Ever?
I try not to drink caffeine at all.
Ah, okay. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
TikTok.
You could say it's for work.
I can, but it's not really true.
Okay. Is there something you've changed your mind about in the last year?
Yeah, you know what? A little bit about AI. I think in the beginning, I was a little bit concerned with, it was like the moment of scary, what is this going to mean, to excited. I'm very excited about what AI is going to mean for us, especially around agentic AI. Having agents shopping, what does that mean? I think it's going to really change fundamentally the way that the consumer is exposed to brands. And when you do it right, I actually think it can really drive our business forward.
Mm-hmm. I believe that too. Okay. Would you rather dance with Beyoncé or sing with Halsey?
Oh, I love Halsey, so I'd say sing with Halsey.
Okay. And what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Prepare hard to finish easy.
Who gave you that advice?
One of my managers did early on in my career, that if you put in the heavy work on the front side, it just makes it so much easier on the back side. And it stuck with me for forever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the last one is in two parts. What's the best investment you've ever made and the worst investment you've ever made? And it can be a broad definition of investment.
Okay. Best investment I ever made is I bought some stock when I took the CEO job. A lot of stock. And it's paid off very well for me. So I'm happy I'm happy about that one.
Excellent.
The worst investment I ever made, I'd say it was the silliest investment I ever made, which is when I turned 16. I was working full time when I was in high school, and I bought a Firebird formula. It was so silly. It was so bad.
A Firebird formula. That's a car.
Yes, yes. With the car with the stripes. And it was so ridiculous. It was way too much, and I was struggling to make the payments, and I don't know why I thought I needed it, but that was the silliest investment I ever made.
I imagine you don't have it still.
No.
All right, Kecia, thank you so much for spending the time with us. I know you're busy here in New York, so thank you for the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much for taking time to listen to our conversation on How She Does It. Wishing you all a beautiful week. We'll have another great conversation for you soon. Until then, onward.